What's going on, people? My name is Elijah Bryant, founder of VictorsArc, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of the VictorsArc podcast, where we talk about all things health, performance, and personal development. With the VA training programs going live in less than a month, I figured there's no better time than right now to finally get this show on the road. I've always been fascinated with origin stories of successful athletes, entrepreneurs, or leaders in general, and how they actually got to their point of success. And I believe too many of these successful people wait until they achieve success before they begin to share their story. So with this channel, not only am I going to be reflecting on the path that has led me to who I am today, but I'm also going to be sharing all of my experiences, the ups, the downs, the struggles, and the triumphs while I'm building this brand, building this community. And in today's video, I'm going to dive into my story a bit and talk about what has led to the creation of VictorsArc and the VictorsArc mission itself. And I want to start this video with saying that I am absolutely obsessed with human performance and the mind and what it's capable of. And around 12 years old is when my dad got me into the gym. That's when I started training. I also want to mention this. Before I started lifting in the gym, we would play these games. We do push-ups. We do all types of little exercises. We did backyard football. Like, I was always physically active, but I did not start weight training until I was about 12 years old. So about 6th grade. So by the time I was in 8th grade, about 13, 14 years old, I had seen some good muscle growth over the past 2 years because most kids really weren't training like that. They weren't lifting weights, and my dad really pushed me to be the best person I could be, build on that muscle. Even though I was short and small, they teased me a lot, but he saw that energy in me. He saw that I wanted to actually do this. I wanted muscles. I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to be bigger. I was fascinated with it. So he fueled that. And I'll forever be thankful for him for getting me started on this journey. By the time I got to high school, I was for sure one of these stronger kids. Like, I would do things in the weight room. Coaches would see me put some weight on a bar for bench press, and I loved bench press. And they would ask me to take off weight. Like, this is too much weight for you, especially on the bench press. Now, squats came a little later, but on the bench press, man, I was just fascinated with it. So I bench pressed all the time. And I'll put this weight on the bar, and the coach would be like, "What are you doing? Like, take that off." I'm like, nah, coach. Like, this is me. I got this. So yeah, I was for sure one of these stronger kids by this point. And keep in mind that all this training, really at the base and heart of it, my passion was football. I was getting in the gym, I was training, I was trying to be stronger because I wanted to be a better football player. And not only a football player, but I also was introduced to wrestling as a 9th grader. Those of you who have not wrestled, you may not understand this, but wrestling is a very arduous sport. So wrestling is where I was introduced to, calorie deficits and having to cut weight. Like, I never had to cut weight. But this became a problem because me as a football player, football being my dream was to be an NFL football player, by the way. That was what I want. As soon as I started playing football, my dream was to be a football player. I wanted to go to the NFL. And wrestling started to conflict with that because, like I said, with wrestling, you have to cut back. You have to lose weight to stay within your weight class. Like, I was fascinated with building muscle and getting stronger. But as a young man growing and having to keep myself restricted in this weight class, I had to limit the amount of food I ate. And it was very difficult. So after my freshman year, after my first season of football, of high school football, first season of high school wrestling, I decided that I'm not going to wrestle my sophomore year. I did like wrestling. It's a one-on-one sport. I got to figure out who I really was on that wrestling mat because there's no excuses. It's you versus the guy on the mat. You can't blame this person. You can't blame that person. It's you versus that person. And I loved that, but football was my passion. So I decided I would take a year off because I really wanted to grow. At this time, like I said, I was just really strong. I had some muscle on me, but I was nowhere near the size or strength I needed to be or athleticism I needed to be to make it to the collegiate level. So I took that year off of wrestling my sophomore year to really focus on football and getting bigger and better at football. So by the time my senior year came around, I had this muscle on me, the size on me is still very short. I'm like 5'9". Definitely not your college football athlete, D1 athlete height. And with no offers coming in, no interest from coaches. I went to some camps, got some DMs from coaches on Twitter and stuff like that, but no real interest, no offers at all. I decided, screw it, I'm gonna do it the hard way. I'm gonna have to walk on somewhere. So without even visiting this college campus, I registered, applied for JSU, Jacksonville State University, with the goal in mind to walk on and play football there, which I did do, and I'll get into that. To keep this video from being too long, I'm not going to go into too much detail about every single topic, but there's a lot to unpack here as far as my college experience goes. But as soon as we get to campus, Ended up rushing fraternity with the goal still in mind that when the spring comes around, I'm quitting this dang fraternity. I'm going all in on football. I'm going to walk on. I'm going to make this dang team, and I'm going to be a college football player, a D1 football player at that. I came into college with this goal, knowing I wanted to play college football. End up, joining this fraternity. Studying human performance with, my backup plan, which I hate backup plans now, but at the time I had the backup plan, which if football doesn't work, I'm going to be a strength and conditioning coach. So I study human performance, really just enjoying life, enjoying college, still training really hard, but I really was just enjoying the college experience. And that would come back to bite me, which I'll get into that. So when we get around to tryouts, I tried out, about 55 guys tried out. I did not originally make this team. I thought there was going to be some skill stuff involved. I was wrong. No football was touched. It's a bunch of speed work, 40 time, all these different physical drills, no football in place. And with all the partying I was doing, I had kind of let my cardio go down. Still strong. That's all I cared. Like I said, that's all I was really doing. I was training hard, but I was not training for cardio. And that's what a lot of this walk-on was, to see if you could push yourself to that limit. See if you could, feel this pain and keep rolling through it. That's what it was all about. And I wasn't prepared for that. So I did not make the team on that tryout. I was this close. And if you put it into visual terms, I had to, on my last 100-yard sprint, 110-yard sprint, you had to make it to the goal line before a certain amount of time. I was 3 yards away from the goal line on the last 110-yard sprint when they called my number and said I did not make the time. And that was it. They call your number, you're gone. There's no arguing. They called my number, and right then I just burst out in tears and realized I did not make the team. So that was a real feeling of failure and defeat. I cried. It sucked. And shortly after this tryout, COVID-19 would hit. Like a month after this tryout, when COVID-19 hit, it helped me out because I had all this time away from college, away from the drinking, the partying, all of the partying I was doing, and really just to focus on football and getting better. Because when I did not make that team, I did not give up right there. So even though I didn't make the team, I got right back to work. Got home. I was working full time at this point during COVID at a grocery store, and every other second I was either training or I was eating. Like that was it. It was training and eating. Just fully focused and locked in. And something just told me to reach out to this coach who happened to be the defensive coordinator who was there at the tryout when I was there back in January. And when I reached out to him, I sent him my film, we talked back and forth, and he said that, yeah, he did saw me like the way I moved. And long story short, he decided to give me a chance and invited me to join the team and start working out with the team that following fall. So I had never been that happy in my life. Like my dream was coming true. I'm a D1 football player. After that day, right to work, right back to work, grinding outside. I'm doing drills, I'm running, I'm training harder than ever, getting ready to go back to the next school year. And as I make it back to school in the fall, workouts are starting, practice is starting, I start to realize that one thing I loved more than all of that, football, training, all of it together, I looked forward to most was those workouts. Although I loved football and that had been a part of my life forever at this point. At this point, it was probably about 14, 15 years or 12 to 14 years I'd been a football player. I started to think like maybe I did not love football, but I loved the brotherhood and the camaraderie and the struggles together, that community I had with my teammates throughout my entire life. I loved football, but what I loved more than football was the camaraderie, the community, those sessions, those early morning sessions, those rough practices. I loved just that. Football was great, but I loved the weight room, being in there, putting in that work more than anything. After a couple of months, I decided that I was no longer going to play football. And there's a couple of circumstances that happened that led to me deciding not to play football anymore. But long story short, I quit playing football. And at the same time is when I started putting really more energy into fitness content on TikTok. I'm making TikToks. I actually got one of my first viral videos after like a few months after I quit playing football, which kind of like gave me that new spark, that new passion. Like maybe I should make fitness content. Maybe I should be a social media influencer and just help people get fit. That was my new goal I was pursuing. So I started posting on social media, got that first viral video. It was like 12,000 views on TikTok. For me, that was viral. I thought I was a dang superstar. And looking back, that 12,000 views was not a lot, but for me at the time, I thought I was famous, man. This was the spark I needed. Like, maybe I can do this. This is cool. But I had this desire and this passion for leadership. Like, I was missing this element of leadership. So with this desire for leadership, I actually asked if I could be the rush chair in my fraternity. The rush chair is responsible for recruiting members, recruiting guys to join the fraternity. This was my first opportunity to get back to a leadership role. Did well as rush chair, and then I became the president of my fraternity. This was a lot of responsibility, and I knew that, but I got it. So now I have my community, have my brotherhood, I have this leadership. I felt kind of fulfilled. I was known as one of the fit guys. I was known as the fit guy on campus, the fit guy around school, fit guy in my fraternity. So I loved it. I felt kind of fulfilled. But going into the end of the fall of my senior year, end of that fall semester, when I was getting ready to exit as president, I knew that I had only one more semester to really get my stuff together, and I was going to be done with college, out into the real world. I was going to be losing that close contact with all of my friends, and I just felt super unclear with my vision. But there was one thing I knew I needed to do, and one thing I knew I had interest in, and that was training and human performance. I still had this fascination. So I put my focus on studying for the CSCS exam, the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist exam. I needed to pass the exam to become a strength coach. I told you my backup plan from the beginning, which now is my full-time plan, my number one plan, my A plan. It was, if football doesn't work out, I'm going to be a strength and conditioning coach, and I'm going to focus on human performance and just learn as much as I can about the human body and the mind and everything around it. So that's what I did. I'm studying for the CSCS. Come around to that next semester, I ended up failing one of these sections, so I had to retake it. And this was the hardest I'd ever studied for anything. I'd kind of floated through high school. I've always been a great student. I passed all of my classes, 3.5 to 4.0 student. Always were A's and B's, but it was kind of easy. But when it came to this CSCS exam, and if you guys don't know what this is like the pinnacle of, strength and conditioning certifications or personal training certificate. Anything training, this is it. This is the top, and is arguably the hardest test you can take to become a strength coach. And this was the hardest I'd ever studied. I had to really spend hours and hours and hours studying. Before this, I had never studied. I would just look over the study guides before the test and take it and pass it. And do my homework and pass class. That's how I got through. But with the CSCS, it was not like that. I had to work hard. And despite all the work I put in, I ended up failing it my first try. Tried again later on, ended up passing it on the second try. And in my last semester of college, while I'm studying for the CSCS exam, I had to do an internship at this gym. This was part of my curriculum. I had to do this internship, 400 hours to get my degree. It was like a final class in my curriculum. And at this internship, at this gym I was working at, I eventually would become a manager at this gym, getting that leadership back. And I started personal training. I actually get to apply everything I've studied so hard for, and it felt good. I was a personal trainer, I was managing, it was great. And at this same gym, I found a new community. I found a new tribe. I met some great people at this job, and they were training a little differently because after I stopped playing football, I kind of switched up my training a little bit. I kind of went to more of a bodybuilding style of training, no running at all, but I was like a bodybuilder. That was in my head, bodybuilder fitness content. That was me. But when I got to this new gym and around these different people, they were more so trained for CrossFit. At the time, I had no idea what CrossFit was. Running was not even a picture in my mind. I was like, I'm never running again after football. That was it. I hated running. But these people put me in a difficult position because I wanted to be a part of this community, but they train differently than me. With training being such an important part of my life, I figured I ought to try this out. So that's what I did. And long story short, I ended up calling myself a CrossFit type of trainer. I started running, which I was terrible at in the beginning. Couldn't even run half a mile first. But I started running a little bit and doing this more functional type of training. And I loved it. The workouts were hard and difficult, but I loved that challenge, especially doing that challenge with a new community, a new group of guys and gals that just wanted to be better. And after graduating from college, this became pretty much my full-time thing that I was doing. And around the same time of graduation, maybe a few weeks after, I ended up stumbling upon my first mentor that got me into online coaching. So started online coaching. And if you know me from the early stages, the name of my company was Bricked Health and Performance, Bricked HP, which I would eventually rename to VictorsArc, but it started off as Bricked Health and Performance, which sounds cheesy, I know. When I started online coaching, that's when my aspirations of being an entrepreneur started to enter my mind. So I started searching for answers. I was like, there's gotta be another way. Like, I love this stuff so much. There's no way that this is the biggest reward I can get for loving something as much as I love it and putting as much work into getting better at human performance and training. Like, there's no way this is the most amount of money I can make from this. So as I'm searching for this answer, I ended up deciding that I was going to quit being a personal trainer and really just try to get my life together and figure out what I was going to do. If I was even going to continue personal training. I was still doing the online coaching thing, but I really was pretty lost again at this point. And that led me to moving home. I had no idea what I was doing. I was training people, I knew training, but by no means was I making a lot of money, and I had no systems in place. I was just doing the bare minimum. So I didn't really work that hard because I didn't know how to work hard. But when I became the general manager of this gym, of a startup gym, I was the only employee charged with getting this thing from 0 to 100 opening. This whole time I've still been training like a CrossFit athlete, running more consistently a little bit. At this time, my mindset was, hey, get a good job, try to learn some skills and focus on CrossFit. Like, maybe you'll do the games next year, because I still have this athlete mentality. I'm like, I'm gonna be a CrossFit athlete. I'm gonna compete in the games. I'm gonna compete in the Open next year and try to make it to the games. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm training for CrossFit, working at this job, and with the job going on, everything's doing good. I'm kind of starting to try to put my life together a little bit. I'm reading books, I'm doing research. I know there's a way out of this 9-to-5 stuff, which I did like what I was doing at the time, but I knew there was a way out of it. I knew, like, there's no way I'm limited here. Like, there's no way. Like, there has to be a way out. So I'm reading books. I'm just absorbing as much as I can. So I had pretty much one friend I talked to who was my workout partner, and that was it. I talked to my family when I got home from work, when I got home from the gym, but that was it. I spent a lot of time in isolation, just by myself in my own thoughts, just trying to figure out who I was and what I was going to do. The books being read, and just running a lot more consistently, doing hard things, doing things that were difficult that I knew would lead to a positive outcome. I ended up getting this tattoo that is me walking up the steps toward a clock with an eye in it, pretty much to kind of signify that I understand that my time here is limited. And I know it sounds negative, but it's not. Our time here on earth is limited, and I was tired of wasting time. I felt like I had enough. I knew enough to start making some real changes, and I'm not gonna be here forever. And it's not a negative viewpoint at all. It just means that, okay, we got to get moving. We got to start doing something. And with that mindset starting to brew up, I decided that I was going to do this new thing going into the new year. So I wrote down a list of a bunch of non-negotiables, a bunch of things I wanted to accomplish, a bunch of challenges for myself. And the biggest one was 90 days of 5Ks. And today I don't love running, but at this time I especially did not love running. And I only ran because I knew it was hard. And at this time I'm all about personal development, trying to get better and just trying to unlock my mind. I decided, look, I hate running so much that I'm gonna run a 5K for 90 days. On top of that, I don't like the cold. So I'm gonna run a 5K every morning for the first 90 days of 2024. And it's gonna be cold, it's gonna suck. I'm not good at running, my legs are gonna hurt, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And like I said, I didn't do this because I loved running. I did it to unlock my mind and just to put myself through some pain. This is all about just ditching my victim mentality and opening my mind up to what the human body was capable of when you put the work in. And I carried this on after that 90 days. I did not keep running every day, but I kept running consistently. At this same time, I was also building VictorsArc in the background. I still had my full-time job at this gym that we had now opened. And I started realizing that I'm pretty dang good at this online coaching thing. Like, I know my stuff, but I know a little bit of sales now. I know a little bit of marketing. I was doing well. And I decided to start making clothes too. VictorsArc, the brand. So when I founded VictorsArc in April of 2024, it was originally a clothing brand. It was going to be my coaching too, but at the time it had been Bricked HP. And VictorsArc was going to be a clothing brand along with my training programs. And when I found VictorsArc, it officially switched over to VictorsArc and Bricked HP was eliminated. Thank God. So with me starting to feel the success of coaching, I was by no means making enough money from coaching to actually survive and pay my bills full time with it. But I was like, screw it. I built this mentality up. I'm like, I can't fail. Like, my mind is so strong from putting myself through these struggles that I'm like, I just can't fail. If I really just quit this job and put all of my apples in this basket and burn the boats, like, I will win. I will succeed. And that's exactly what I did. I quit my job to focus on VictorsArc, and I quickly picked up some clients, and I was making a full-time income from online coaching. And the brand was set to launch with two of other my buddies. We ran a relay marathon to launch the clothing brand of VictorsArc, which we did. We ran a relay marathon. We split it 3 ways. And at this point, when I'm relaunching VictorsArc, I'm slowly transitioning away from fitness coaching. I still love online coaching. I love helping people discover what they're capable of, lose weight, get lean, get healthy. I love that with a passion. But the one thing I'm more passionate about when it comes to fitness is performance. I love seeing what the body is capable of. It's cool seeing the number on the scale drop. It's cool seeing body fat fall off and starting to see muscles pop through. But there's nothing like signing up for a challenge and having all of that work, all of that hard work, all those hours of training pay off. Aesthetic goals are great, but I love performance. This is how I've always been. I didn't really start caring about aesthetics until after I stopped playing football. And the cool thing about performance goals and athletic goals is that when you dive into fueling your body for this performance and training like an athlete, you actually get the aesthetics as a side effect. So the next month, I'm going to be launching the VA training programs, and there's going to be a few different programs you can choose from. And of course, I know you're wondering, what even is VictorsArc? I don't really remember how the VictorsArc name popped into my head, but basically Victor means victorious, victory, winner, and arc means journey. So VictorsArc together is the journey to becoming a winner. And I believe that's what life is about. There's no end goal. Like, it's all just a journey, and every day of your life is just a segment on that journey as you become your version of a winner, your idea of a victory, your idea of success. Like, it's all just a journey. And I want to kind of start to wrap this video up by asking you this. What does your VictorsArc look like? Not what the social media says. I know you open your phone, you always see somebody driving a Bugatti, you see this professional tennis player or something, but like, what is your idea of success? What does success look like to you? Everybody's VictorsArc is different. And I believe too many people hop on social media and they're scrolling and they have no idea what they even truly care about or want out of life. And this was me too for a while. I spent a lot of time on social media, just looking at what other people were doing, trying to piece together what I wanted by looking at what other people had. And this is a flaw. We got to stop doing this, guys. You got to spend time on your own, digging into your own mind and figuring out what you truly want and what winning looks like to you. And for me, my mission with VictorsArc is to create the #1 online performance training community in the world and inspire others to dig in and discover their highest potential. That is the center point of my mind right now. Everything I do. Not only do I want to become the best person I can be, but I want to help other people unlock these doors in their mind and become the best version of themselves. And that's not even just in the gym. That's not even just with your workouts and training. I truly believe that fitness is the gateway drug to the life that you want. I focus on performance. I focus on my training and my nutrition and my health. And a lot of the time that breeds the success in other areas of my life. And this is what will happen to you too. Fitness is the gateway drug. If you want to improve your life, just find a program and start working out. I promise you, as you get better in your health and your fitness, you will start to feel better. You will start to open new doors in other areas of your life, and you will start to see other opportunities that may have not once been there before. I know that my financial goals will produce themselves. They will come as a side effect of me just being the best person I can be. All I want to do is master my mind, master my body, and live in alignment with the highest version of myself and help you do the same. I love my family. I love the people around me. I love the people in my circle, and I want to keep them there because I know as I become the best version of myself, I want to help them become the best version of themselves as well. And also, I want to have people to share what I learn with, share the experiences with. If you do all these things and you don't have people to share it with, it really does not matter, does it? So some upcoming events for me. I got High Rocks Dallas coming up. Me and one of my good friends are doing High Rocks in Dallas, pretty much a few days away from when this video will be coming out. I'm gonna make a YouTube video on this entire event and document this entire day, this entire trip, and it's gonna be a blast. We've been training for about 4 months. We're gonna compete in the pro doubles division, and really it's more so for fun. But my buddy's been training really hard for it too, and I can't wait just to see what all the work we've been putting in pays off. Like, this is new for me. This is my first High Rocks competition. I may do more in the future, I haven't decided yet, but this is just another way to unlock a different area of my mind. It's difficult, it's functional training, and this is what I've done for a while now, and I love it. And this is just a way to put that functional training and all of this running to use in the competition. And after I do High Rocks in Dallas this upcoming week, I'm gonna be going to run my first marathon here in Huntsville, which is 26 miles. The longest I've ever ran is 20 miles straight, which was no easy task. I run pretty consistently now, about 4 or 5 days a week. And I do a long run pretty much every weekend, anywhere between 10 to 15 miles. But I've never ran longer than 20 miles. And that 20-mile run was about 6 months ago. So this is gonna be a challenge for me. I'm no marathon runner. I like to train all aspects of fitness, but I'm by no means a runner fully right now. And this marathon is gonna be tough. And that's why I'm doing it, to push myself. I'm doing High Rocks because it's gonna be tough to push myself and figure out what I'm capable of. And I'm doing this marathon to figure out what I'm capable of. Once again, I wanna remind you all that the VictorsArc training programs are going live on December 16th. That is the day after my marathon. So I'm gonna run this marathon on December 15th. And then the day after, the VA training programs will go live. And there's gonna be 3 programs going live to start off. You're gonna have your Perform program, which is strength and conditioning. That's gonna have functional training, running, circuit training, all together in one. Pretty much the training that I'm gonna be using, what I have been using to prepare for this High Rocks competition. This is gonna make you the best possible athlete that you can be. Aerobically, strength, power, all of that together in one package with the Perform program. You'll have the Buff Runner program. That's the name now. I'll probably change that, but right now it's the Buff Runner program. It's basically bodybuilding and running. So traditional bodybuilding, traditional weight training, along with running workouts included with that. And that's pretty much how I started my hybrid athlete journey as well. So I figured it was great to make a program with that to help people kind of get into running before they get into the functional training, if they don't want to just start with the functional Perform program. And I also have a minimal equipment and running program, which will be, like I said, minimal equipment, maybe some dumbbells, and your dang 2 feet. And this is gonna be a great program if you're just completely new to fitness in general, and you just wanna start trying to figure out what you have and what you're capable of, and you just wanna start running, and you don't want to go to a gym. With all that being said, I wanna thank you guys for tuning in and watching this video. I know it's a bit longer. All of my videos won't be this long, but I figured with an introduction, I needed to kind of talk about a bunch of different things broadly to kind of show you what I'm about, what has led me to who I am, and I can't wait to see where this channel goes. Once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart if you did make it to the end of this video. Make sure you tune into next week's video where I'll be documenting the entire High Rocks Dallas trip, and I'll see you guys next time.